In this video, we're going to continue to learn about transposition. Recall from yesterday's lesson, transposition is simply taking a term that I don't want from one side of the equation to the other side by switching the signs. So let's look at some examples here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So let's look at number 21. In here, it's quite complicated. I've got negative numbers, I've got fractions, but as long as you know that your ultimate goal is to solve for p. So let's go back to the original equation. We always start from the side where the variable is, and the term that I don't need in this case is -3. So I have to bring it over to the other side and change the sign. And so I should have p over 4 left on the right-hand side, and then the other side becomes -5 plus 3. And if I simplify the right-hand side, I should have -2, right? Now, just to be obvious, over here, I don't want this 4, and so I have to bring that 4 on the other side. So now I have only p left on this side, and I have -2 times +4. And notice that over here, I'm switching the denominator to the numerator, which is how it becomes -2 times 4. My final answer is p equals -5. I'm sorry, -8. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's do number 25 here. I have a over 4 minus 1, and I'm going to start with the numbers, bring it to the other side, changing the sign. I should have a over 4 left on this side. This becomes 1 plus 1. So if I simplify that, 1 plus 1 is 2. And now I need to take the denominator and bring it over to the other side, becomes the numerator, which makes it 2 times 4. So my final answer is a equals 8. Okay. Also, I want you to double check. You can plug in a equals 8, plug it back in here, so that you have a over 4 becomes 8 over 4 minus 1. On the left-hand side, that becomes 2 minus 1, and you want to see if they really equals to 1 or not. 2 minus 1 obviously equals to 1, so it check out. And that's how you check your answers right there. Okay? So let's do one more example. Let's look at number 28. So number 28, again, I'm going to go and get rid of that 5 because I don't want that on the other side by switching the sign. So now I have -2b equals 5 minus 5. So -2b equals 0. And now I have -2b. Remember, -2b, all I'm trying to get rid of is this -2. And then, because that's a whole number on top, it's a numerator, I'm going to move that to the denominator. In this case, 0 divided by -2, 0 divided by anything is 0. So that's my final answer there. Okay? And some even more funky ones. Let's look at number 23. Number 23 here has a parentheses. So a parentheses is basically a bodyguard, right? You have to make sure that you get rid of everything outside. So there are different ways of doing it. We learned about distributive property, but in this case, I'm going to do something different. So again, I want to ultimately find my x there, right? So, but before I do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the -5. So I'm going to get rid of this -5. Because it's a multiplication and that's in the numerator, I need to move it to the denominator. So on the left-hand side, I have 5 plus x left. On the right-hand side, I have the original 5, and now I'm moving the negative 5 because it's a multiplication. I put it in the denominator. And if I simplify that, it becomes 5 plus x equals negative 1. And now here again, I just need to move the 5 because it's a positive 5. I move it to a negative. And so x on the left-hand side becomes negative 1 minus 5. And the final answer is x equals negative 6. Okay. Let's look at the next page. There's some more examples about these parentheses. So let's look at number 34. Same thing. I don't want this negative sign. And you can think about it as a negative 1 multiplied by it. That's fine. But the easiest way to get rid of a negative sign is to change all the signs. So notice that I did this negative, whatever it is in the parentheses, I changed it to positive, and now I'm changing this negative 6 into a positive. So in other words, if I change the sign in one thing, I have to change the sign in every other term. Why that is the case? A negative 1 times m minus 3. I'm just rewriting the problem, right? So we already know how to get rid of that invisible 1, their invisible negative 1, by moving it over to the other side. So then my left-hand side is still negative 3. On this side, I have negative 6 divided by negative 1. That goes from the denominator into the numerator. So now I have the exact same problem as my purple ink, right? So again, in the purple case, in here, I don't need the negative 3. So I'm simply moving the 3 to the other side, but I'm changing flipping the signs. So my n should equal to 9. Let's look at, oops, this is the same page. So let's look at number 36. Again, parentheses. So I'm not going to do it for you, but obviously the question here is, how do I get rid of the 2? It's in the numerator. It's a whole number. Any kind of whole number can be rewritten into that whole number over 1. So it is in the numerator. If you want to get rid of this, moving it to the other side, you have to put it in the denominator. Then the rest is all yours, right? So make sure that you pause the video and finish everything up till number 40. All right? I will see you later. Bye.